Right, a very good day. This is another podcast made here in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia, because today's subject is something that I found fascinating after having a chat with a few people that I knew, and I came across a gentleman who'd also had some experiences with dating apps. I had a few stories that I'd like to have told on a podcast, and then this gentleman came along, and he's got even more stories that he'd like to share with us. So today I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name's Quinton.
Hello.
G'day, Quinton.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
That's not his real name, by the way. We made that up just to keep him secret. Quinton. We'll call you Quinton Tarantino for today, all right?
Yep.
You were telling me about some of the experiences you had with dating apps, and they sounded... which horrendous, really horrendous, but strange.
Yes.
And then it dawned on me that a couple of people that we knew, one of them was a friend of our family who had, sadly, she's no longer here anymore. She passed away from cancer a few years ago, but she had an experience where she went on one of these dating apps to try and find a partner and someone that she could befriend and have, just share a life with. They went out for their first date. And it was in a restaurant, so it was just going to be a night out for a nice meal. And they were sitting at a table that was a table for two next to a window. So if you can imagine someone sitting opposite you on a table, looking out of a window to your right, and then the restaurant's to the left. Before they'd even started the date, this particular person, this man, who's obviously got no social etiquette whatsoever, which is a real sad thing to think of in itself, got up and pulled his chair around the table and sat right next to her. So now there's two of them sitting on a fairly narrow table next to each other, as opposed to him sitting opposite so he could see her. Now, why would you do that?
Why would I do that?
You wouldn't do that. I know you wouldn't do that, but why would anybody do that? Is it just one of these things where some people perhaps don't have any sort of general knowledge about how to socialise? I don't know. I just thought that was odd. That was the first story that I heard. I've got a few more that I can reiterate, but before we do any more of mine, let's go to Quinton. Quinton, thank you very much for coming into our little studio this morning. You told me of a few stories because you were on a dating app trying to find somebody as a friend, as a partner. That's all it was. You might find someone that you hit it off with, you might not. Then suddenly you started to have some really horrendous things happen to you. Can you explain to me the first experience that you had on these so-called dating apps? We won't mention any names of the dating apps because that's not fair for commercial business ventures, etc. But what was the first experience you had that you thought, this is just really odd?
Okay, so the first experience I had, I haven't been dating for a very long time, and had no idea of how to navigate my way around dating apps, so I had to learn that. And my first experience was getting hacked. So I was hacked, and not knowing what bots are online, and not realising that the sites weren't safe enough.
So when you say you were getting hacked, this means you've gone onto a dating app, you've set up a profile, I suppose, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
This is Quinton Tarantino. Here's a picture of me. I live in so-and-so. I do this for a job, or I'm interested in model railway engines or bridge building, whatever it might be. So you've done all that, and now you're saying your profile has been hacked on that app site.
Yes. So trying to look through different women, what their bios are, what they like, what they don't like, ages, trying to find compatible.
Oh, so you
partners.
were searching for someone to chat with, basically.
Yes.
And then you're saying a thing called a bot, which if you didn't know what that is, a bot is basically a robot, and it's an automatic piece of software which has been put out there just to annoy everybody, and believe you me, they are everywhere. And this is why we now have what's known as two-factor authentication. When you sign into an account, whether it be a bank or a dating app, you normally have to get a code sent to you either on your telephone or on a two authentication app, which Google has one on your phone. So it means you've got to sign in effectively twice. Did you know about that?
Yes, that's
You know
that's-
about that
That
now.
was on there.
Right.
I
So
experienced
they had that already.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So this is called 2FA, two-factor authentication. So you've got this 2FA on there, but someone still hacked into your account.
Yes.
And then what did they do? What did they start to do?
Well, I believe initially I was talking to chatting with a real person,
Yep.
and then I believe this this hacker got into my account, and they email bombed me, or spam bombed me,
Yeah.
which took care of my laptop. I was unable to break out of it because it was constantly being barraged with emails, and
Oh, so they've gleaned the information from your account on this app, and now they're bombarding you with rubbish. Is that what they're saying? Because they got your
Yeah.
email address. Yeah.
yeah. So
Right,
they
okay.
got in to my bank account. Fortunately, I was quick enough to jump on my mobile and freeze my bank account.
Yeah.
They did get $380, but
They managed to take $380 out of your bank account.
yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But fortunately, they've got things in place for those situations, and you can get the money back from the bank,
Yeah. Yeah.
providing it's an honest hack. So it did take a few weeks, but I got the money back. But the interesting thing that happened, I was sent a message by a woman that I had liked, so I pressed that I liked her,
Yeah.
and she sent me a message saying hello, and I was too busy dealing with this hack to respond to her. So the following day, when I cleared it all up and signed back in again and sorted the security issues out, I sent a message to her and apologised to her for not responding, and she was not a very happy person.
In what way? Did she thought that you just ignored her or something? Did you? Or what?
Yeah, she thought that I'd totally ignored her and that she wanted a response immediately. I told her that I was very sorry and that I didn't mean to offend her, and she really got stuck into me about not responding to somebody, and that she felt vulnerable, and
Oh my goodness me.
yeah, she felt terrible all night, and that it was all my doing, and
Well, just
I-
because you hadn't responded to her for a day
absolutely, yes.
while you were trying to sort out some idiot stealing money out of your bank account.
Yes, and then
That's-
when I explained to her why I hadn't responded, she thought that was quite funny.
Oh, really?
I told her that I hadn't been on dating apps before and that I was hacked, and she thought that was hilarious. And she ended her mail with her last message with a "You got what you deserved."
Goodness me. So she was being really quite nasty. She doesn't know you from a bar of soap.
Never met her before.
You've never met her face to face.
Nope.
So that was your first experience. You've been hacked.
Yep.
You just got onto a dating app. You've been hacked. Someone's stolen $300 out of your bank account.
Yep.
And the first person that you press like because she looks okay, and you read her profile obviously, and she's got some interests that you might have, turns out to be some maniac that gets upset because you didn't talk to her for a day, and then says you deserved what you got.
Absolutely.
So now at this stage, this is only early in the piece. What are your thoughts at this moment in time, on dating apps? I bet you weren't exactly over enamoured with them, were you? Or?
Well, it's pretty overwhelming because when you go onto a dating app, you get a lot of pictures. There's a lot of information to try and sort through, and I like to read about the person. Apparently, not a lot of guys actually do that. So I had a lot of learning to do very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to learn, that you have to read all of what women write, but
Yeah.
women will not read what you write.
Is that right? You don't think they read your profile?
They don't read the profile at all.
There's no point in putting it on there, then, really, is there?
Well, but if you don't put a profile on there, then you get a bit of a caning for that. So
Yeah. From the dating app or from the actual other members?
from the members.
This is very odd. Now, I'm not going to jump on dating apps and say they're all rubbish and there's no such thing as a good dating app, because we've got a friend of ours whose son went on a dating app, found a girl, They've got married and now they're living happily ever after with two gorgeous kids, and they're as happy as anything. And I think that's a wonderful success story. I don't know what the app was that they found each other on, and we're not going to mention any names here because there's so many out there. But unfortunately, amongst the very few good ones, there is so much dross. And it's this what we're trying to talk about now. Now, what was your second? That was your first experience being hacked. Mm-hmm. Second experience meeting someone that you thought might be nice, that turned out to be a bit of a stupid monster, with the personality of a piece of cheese. Now, what was your third experience that you said to me when we had this conversation a few days ago?
The third woman that she contacted me, she said she thought that I was a nice looking fellow and that she wanted to meet up for a coffee. So,
well, you are a nice looking fellow.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I like you.
I like you too.
But I'm not gay.
Neither am I.
So anyway, she's seen your picture.
Yeah.
She's contacted you and said you'd like to meet up. Okay, so did you actually meet up with this girl?
I did, yes. We met up a few days later.
In a public place, obviously.
Yes.
It's very important to stress here, anyone that does this on any dating apps, it is dangerous to meet anybody in a quiet, secluded place. And realistically, I think there's no reason why you shouldn't take a friend with you. Especially if you're a lady, take your friend with you so you've got a bit of confidence. Doesn't matter, does it, really? So you met up in a coffee shop somewhere?
Yes, met up in a coffee shop, and she was a very attractive woman.
Yeah.
She said that she was keen to date, and I asked her about her past. You know, she'd been married and she had adult children.
Yeah.
And the first thing that sort of put me back was she said that had been given permission by her husband to date. And I wondered what that was all about.
So does this mean that she was still married?
She was still married. She was separated.
Oh, she was separated. Well, I mean, that's fine if they're not living together anymore.
Yeah.
I take it their relationship had not gone that well and they were just living separate lives.
Yes, I believe he may have played around on her. So we met and we both liked each other, so we organised another date.
Yep.
And we went out for tea, and she was getting a lot of phone calls and being very secretive about these phone calls.
What, whilst you're sitting there in a restaurant somewhere?
Whilst I'm sitting opposite her in a very romantic setting, yes.
Yeah. McDonald's, was it?
Not quite. A little bit more expensive than McDonald's, yes.
Ah, good to hear, mate. Good to hear. You got some class. You didn't take it to a hamburger joint. Well,
no.
They call it a family restaurant, but I don't believe that.
I'm looking for some romance in my life, so yes, it would have been,
somewhere nice. Yeah.
It was,
but she's got all these phone calls coming in, and what, text messages and what have you. And
just phone call after phone call, and I'm being understanding.
Yeah.
And not demanding.
Yeah.
And I'm,
going along with it.
Going along with the phone calls, and so I said to her, "Is there some place that you need to be?" And she said that it was her adult son, her 22-year-old son, that was calling to find out how to heat his meal up.
Oh, now this rings a bell because this is the conversation you and I had. This is this reminds me. Remember I mentioned this? It reminds me of Love Actually, the movie, when that young girl who's in the office and fancies that guy, and they've gone out on this date, but her brother is obviously not very well mentally, and he keeps ringing her, and she goes, "Oh no, I'm not busy."
Yes.
Which obviously makes the guy feel, "Oh yeah, I'm not that special then."
Yeah.
So she's getting all these phone calls. Are they all from her son?
I believe so, yes. That's what she said they were from. So I believe that's where they were coming from.
And where did this all go at the end of the night? What happened?
At the end of the night, I asked her, so your adult son can't heat up his own meal, or, is he aware that you're out dating? And she said, no, he's not.
So her son didn't know that she was out on a date with somebody?
No. She said that she had told him that she was on a dating app, but that she hadn't seen anybody. So then I referred to the first coffee that we had, and she said that she had met several guys on this dating app. So now she's becoming a bit of a fibber.
Yeah.
So I wonder then what actually is going on here. But she's very attractive and she's a very decent, kind, seemed to be a very kind person. So I was attracted to her. So we ended up going out on a following date.
So you've had this is the third date now.
This is the third date.
So
now,
let me just interject for a second there. You've been out on 2 dates with this woman. She's obviously a good-looking girl. You like her, you fancy her, whatever you. But you know now that she's got other guys that she's been seeing from these dating apps.
I assume.
You assume that she's got other guys, or she's seeing more than one. So realistically, from my point of view, if it's not going to be me because I've been married for 1,000 years. But if this was me, yes, I'd fancy her because she's a nice-looking girl. But it is what it is. If she's going to go out with other people, then I'll go out with other people. I don't really care. If anything happens, it's going to happen in time. You can't force anything. And if you finish up finding out that she's gone out with 700 other guys and is not interested with having a relationship just with you, what can you do? You just got to accept that as it is and say, all right, thank you very much. Nice to have met you. We had a great time. See you again. Bye.
Well, at this point...
Is this how you felt or not?
No, not at all. I thought, I learned very quickly from talking to some friends about dating apps, and, I'm not a jealous person unless I'm actually in a very committed relationship.
Yeah.
But I am 100% honest, and that gets me into some trouble sometimes.
Oh, really?
But, this was her son, so I was understanding of that.
Yeah.
And, if she was seeing other guys, I'm happy for her to do that, as I know my value.
Yeah.
And if she can see that, then there's some sort of future. But if she can't, well,
then exactly what I just...
But so the third date...
Yeah.
She was late by over an hour too.
Oh my goodness me! Was this in a restaurant or where was it? The third one?
Yes, this was in more of a pub club sort of setting.
So were you going to eat there? Were you going to eat?
Yeah, just easy
pub
foods.
Yeah.
So we go to this nice, again, very romantic place, very nice, cozy place. She looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I wait for an hour for her.
She's an hour late.
An hour late.
And when she turned up, did she have an excuse for being late like that, or?
No, just that she was running late. So
Running
you don't ask a lady why she's running late.
Well, did she?
You'll get into trouble.
I take it you've got each other's phone numbers by this time, haven't you?
We do, yes.
Did she not text you or call you to say, look, I'm running late, I'm going to be a little bit behind time?
Yes, I did receive a text from her. That's why I waited for the hour.
All right, okay, yeah.
What do? Do you text, every 20 minutes, or do you just wait and...
No, every half an hour. I'd say you'd probably have one text after half an hour. You still coming? Or somebody would say, look, I'm running late after 10 or 15 minutes. I shouldn't be too long. Can you wait for me? Then, of course, you just say, yeah, by all means.
So I waited, and then I got a message from her saying that she was in the place. So
she was already at the venue?
Yes, she had gone in through the back way and made her way into the restaurant, the bar club. So we were sitting there talking. We got along quite well.
Yeah.
I could tell that there was not... I could tell that she had been married for a long time and that she was not ready for any sort of romantic relationship whatsoever.
She was just basically treating this as a friendly meet-up, and that's
I think so. Just testing the waters. So I think she was attracted to me.
Can I say this? Were you more interested in her than perhaps she was in you?
I was probably more interested in I was interested in her, but I was also interested in going out and just having a good time, because I hadn't been out for so many years.
Oh, so this was just a social thing for you as well, really?
It was kind of, but I could see, by the second date that there were issues that she would have to clear up. But it was nice to go out with a good-looking woman and, see. Well, I was interested to see if she might be able to clear up some of these things. Yeah. These small problems that she had, and maybe... we might get along from there. But,
so at the end of the night, how did you leave it?
Well, that was interesting because we had some food and we had a few drinks, and there were a group of young people, 20 early 20s, late teens, early 20s, over in the corner having a good time and getting loud. And she sort of looked over her shoulder and she saw these young, late teens, early 20s group. And she looked at me and she was flabbergasted. Like this.
In what way? Why was she flabbergasted?
Well, I said, "But do you know those people over there?" And she said, "Yes, that girl over there that's having a birthday party, that girl used to go out with my son."
All right, so it was her son's ex-girlfriend, yeah?
Yes, well, then I said to her, "Well, is that a problem?" And she said, "Yes, my son doesn't know that I'm dating anybody."
Oh, so once again, oh, Jesus.
So then I'm like, okay, we saw, I was told that you sorted that out. You told me you sorted that out. That wasn't a problem anymore, but obviously that was a fib as well.
All right, okay.
So...
See, to me, I don't see these as problems. It really wouldn't worry me in the least if... look, does your son know that you're out with somebody? It's just an unfortunate scenario that the girlfriend is in the same venue. This is the stuff that happens on soap operas.
It is.
You'd always see somebody going out doing something subversive or something they shouldn't be doing, and somebody else walks into the same venue. Yes. It's like no matter where you live, in a big city or a town, there's only one restaurant.
Yes.
So if you go out socially, the people that you know are going to come into that one restaurant, which of course is rubbish.
I don't know. This is Newcastle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose you're right. But then just let me ask you this question then. So at the end of the night, after you've discovered now that she's told her son that you're going out, she's going out dating. She hasn't told him, but she's told you that she had.
Yes, and she's got the wind knocked out of her because her son's ex-girlfriend has seen her out with a guy.
Oh, so it's not even his current girlfriend; it's an ex-girlfriend.
Yes, but they went to school together, so they know each other. So,
see, in my realm of things, I would say, who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? Exactly. Go over there and get on with your life and do what you got to do. So let me move things forward a bit now. At the end of that night, did you leave on amicable terms? Were you still friends?
Well,
were you planning on seeing each other again, or do you think did it all fizzle out? What happened?
Well, the interesting thing that happened that night, there were other women in that club.
Yeah.
That were very interested. But me being a gentleman,
what there was other girls there whilst you're with this girl looking at you, going, "Hey."
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And, you're just a bit of a James Bond, you are, aren't you?
Oh, just a lot of people in one club.
Okay.
So when she saw her son's ex-girlfriend, that was the night over then.
Yeah.
She went, unbeknownst to me, she said she was going to the bathroom. She went, paid the bill. And she came and told me that she had to leave. So
she did come. She didn't just walk out and just zoom off without realising, without telling you.
Yes, and I walked out with her.
Yeah.
And I gave her a hug, and I thought, that's sort of the end of that.
Yeah.
She did call me a few weeks later.
Yeah.
She called me and said that she thought that I was perfect for her, but that she wasn't ready.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
And how long ago was this now?
So this was about 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years?
Yeah.
All right, so nothing happened after that then?
No,
I was going to say, if it was like 3 months ago, there's still a chance that she might go, "Well, let's go out again." But she didn't.
Wouldn't go back
there
again.
You wouldn't do that again. Okay.
Thrice shy.
Well, then that's not bad. Let me just quickly tell you about this incident, because there's been so many that I've been told of. And this is a friend of ours who went out on the dating app. Now, she's a woman. She's looking for a guy. It's one of these things, I don't know whether you swipe it left, swipe it right, swipe it up, stick it up your nose. I don't know what you do with it. But she's found somebody, and they've met up, and they've gone out for a drink somewhere in a pub, or they've gone out for a meal in a restaurant. It's been 2 or 3 dates, and everything seems to be okay until she starts getting phone calls from this guy at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the phone calls that she gets is something like, they're in my house and I don't know what to do. and suddenly you start to think, hang on a minute, what have I got? Some nutter here.
Yeah.
There was another few things that this guy did that was just very odd, like turning up at her place at 3 o'clock in the morning and knocking on the door. Can I come in?
Yeah.
I find it fascinating that people get into these scenarios, because you're going to meet somebody, before dating apps, before the internet, and before all this electronic technology garbage, which I'm not a great fan of, to be quite honest with you, what did we do? We went out to nightclubs. We used to go to bars. We used to go to pubs to meet people, and you might see somebody across a room, just like you just said that. There was a couple of girls there that seemed to be a bit interested. If anything happens, you start to have a chat. You might go out with each other. It might turn into a lovely relationship. It might turn into nothing. It might just frizzle out after 10 minutes. But why can't these scenarios exist now with a dating app? It's exactly the same. Instead of seeing somebody across a room or in the street or in a nightclub somewhere, you're seeing them on a TV screen. So they might live 10 feet away from you or 2,000 miles away from you. You don't know.
Well, see, the problem I believe that the dating apps have created, if you're taking a lot of people that are looking to date away from actually being social and dating.
Yeah.
Now you're getting people that are dating solely from their home, and they have a list. It's a thing now. You have a list. I want the perfect guy. I want the perfect girl. So often women, when you read their bios, they will have a list of what they want, what they don't want. They want this, they want that, you've got to have a exemplary job that pays a fortune. You have to have a very expensive car. You have to have, and mind you, this is, mid 40s to early 50s.
If this is the sort of women that are on these dating apps and these are the sort of demands that they're making, would you really want to meet someone like that?
I don't know, because I think...
For me personally, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
I'd just think, you're so superficial, mate. You just want somebody with lots of money. You want somebody with a nice car to be very, very good looking and big swish. And this is where these stupid rubbish programs come into play. The Bachelor.
Yes.
Which I never watch because I think it's garbage. Because the producers of these shows, whether you like these shows or not, the producers of these shows want to see conflict on the screen.
Absolutely.
Because to them, conflict between people, and I've seen the trailers for this, I never watched the program, but I see the trailers, conflict between two people when they find out Stacey has just revealed that she's got a secret. I'm a man. I've had my bits chopped off, or whatever it might be, because they reckon that makes good TV. I think it makes rubbish television.
I don't believe that program is real.
No, of course it's not.
I think part of it is real, and I think that at least 30% of the people that go on that program are deliberately put there to agitate.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, they go through a psychological profile. The producers of those shows only want certain people who can be really nice and really charming, but on the flip side, their personality has got something really disastrously evil lurking under the surface, and that's what makes it television. But I can't watch that. I think it's absolute garbage. But this is what they want. It's called, in the television industry, I'm sure it's called jeopardy. They've got to have some jeopardy. Oh, no, look what's happened now, And then that might keep the viewers watching. And the only reason they want you to watch is so they can put an advert in front of your face and sell you something that you don't really need. No offence to the big retailers, but we get things like Harvey Norman every 30 seconds, J&B Hi-Fi. If I want a computer or a mobile phone, I'll go to the shop and go and buy one.
And that's what I believe these apps have done to people. I think being on these apps, you can have such a wide variety of people you will swipe left on. No, I don't want to see this person. I don't like the way they look. I don't want to see they don't earn enough money. This person doesn't have a nice enough car. So the unreal expectations that a person might have of a partner are squashed through these apps because they want the perfect partner.
Yeah, and they're not going to get it.
No, and one of the funny things I find about these apps is that women on there that will demand, guys, don't show pictures of yourself fishing. Guys, don't show pictures of your motorcycle. I don't care about your motorcycle. And then you swipe left, and the next woman will say, "Have you got a motorcycle? I love motorcycles." "Do you like fishing? I love fishing."
Right, we're going to leave it there because we're coming up to half an hour. I think we've got enough material for the first show. I think we'll do another podcast and we'll continue on with other experiences that we've had.
I have dozens.
In part 2. So thank you very much for listening. It's just coming over 30 minutes now, so we're going to do part 2, which will follow this one. And we'll be back whenever you click onto that link that says the NBBC's Dating App Trilogy. Have a good day wherever you are.